I think it says it's starting.
You
Click.
clicked go live? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna assume that we are live. So
We are officially live. Yes, we are.
perfect, perfect. So as you'll see, I'm mobile today because I'm in Georgia. I'm in Snellville. I'll be with my bestie on Thursday. But the Wi-Fi is not working. So, best laid plans. So Carissa connected us, and so we're good for our real estate unfiltered. And today's kind of just it's more of a food for thought conversation, if you will. So I talked about it this morning for our ops insiders on our motivation in a minute. And it was kind of about like, are you the calm in the storm or are you the storm, right? So when you're working with like co-op agents or even with your clients, your vendor partners, your colleagues, your team members in the same office with you, like are you someone that they view as like a resource, as someone who's going to like have an open door policy, and things of that nature, like that can be helpful, that can just kind of be that calm voice in the middle of all the chaos, or are you the person that they run from, right? And like, I really want you to do like some deep reflection on that because most people are gonna be like, oh, of course I'm happy to be a resource. And then like when you're one on one with someone, if you're a jerk, they're gonna remember that. Like I had that experience very recently, actually, like with an agent, and I was just like, okay, like now that I see who you really are behind closed doors, I'm never gonna want to do business with you because like that sticks. You know what I mean?
Yes, because anybody can be nice in a good moment, right? And so what I
Right.
like to say is, I mean,
Or in
truthfully,
public.
right. And I mean, I like to say for the most part, and I think it's fair. I think this is a fair statement that I believe we all bring some level of drama in at some point in some place in our life because we're human, right? Like, so let's give
Right.
ourselves
Right. We all have the ability to. I
right.
will say Valerie, like my sister, she is like that's one thing almost everybody compliments her on. Like she is that not monotone, but she is just that calm voice.
Yes, I
And it
would, yes,
doesn't
she
mean
exists.
she's not on
Yeah,
fire and she's not pissed and that she can't like crack the whip. But it's like Mo Anderson. People say that about her a lot too.
yeah.
If those of you who know who Mo Anderson is, like she could cuss you out in like the nicest way that you're thanking her by the end of the conversation.
I know,
So
and
there's
I love
people like
that.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that because like I think I've told you before like she's my I joke around I'm like I'm her namesake because there's so many
Mhm.
people like because I'm Kellerized even though I'm not with Keller
Right.
anymore that have always said like you remind me of like a Mo Anderson where you can tell
Right.
me to F off and you walk away and you're like did she just tell me to F off
Right.
or what like because I try to do it in a way that because and this is where I'm gonna like this is my conversational part with you is like I want to always believe that I am the
Right.
calm in the storm, but just like I
Right. We
said,
all do. Right.
yeah, in reflection, it's like I know that there's sometimes that I add, oil or gas to the fire, whatever you want to call it, because I'm human and I'm speaking out of emotion. However, when I'm able to step back and think about it, and that's why I'm always saying, like, we can't control our first thought, but we can control our second because it's that first thought that typically gets us in trouble, right? Like, you cannot help what is in here and what you think about. Like, you literally can't. It is a natural thing. You can help what comes out of your mouth. And um, who said it? It's like, I heard it like multiple times, like, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? It doesn't need to be said ever, or something like that.
Right.
Like,
David
no.
Patterson used to say
Yeah.
that a lot,
But
like our
it
former coach.
Yes,
Yeah.
it comes from somewhere though, because I heard it in like, I'll figure it out. It'll snap.
Right.
But
Well, there's two different ones. There's is it true? Is it kind? Is it helpful? And
right.
then there's the like, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Kind of a thing.
Yeah, because it's like not everything needs to be said. And sometimes that's my internal battle. And Josie, you know me
Hmm.
very well. Like I have a strong sense for justice and not just
Oh,
for me.
same.
So most of
Same.
the time
Yeah.
it's for other people. Like, and I'm like,
Right.
oh,
And just like
hell no.
ethics, like that's
Yes,
not right. And so you want to be the
yes,
advocate. So yes.
yes.
And that is my weakness. Like anybody knows where like there is a boundary that I will not tolerate, and that is in business. Like so with family and stuff, this is why this is not about like we all are going to blow up in family personal situations because those are the people that you expect to understand and forgive you. That's just human nature. But with business, like if you cross a certain line, if you're disrespectful, if if you're doing something extremely unethical, I don't have the patience or the tolerance for that. So I will try to come from a place of understanding first most of the time, but like if it's persistent and if you clearly are just again a jerk, then okay. So now we're going to come from a different place, right? So
Right.
so there I feel like boundaries are okay, but it's the catch of like you try to come from understanding, you try to ask questions, you try not to jump to those assumptions first, right? So what you were saying, like you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second, right?
Yes. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if we all just pause for a second, and that's easier said than done, right? And so some of us, I just was at a mastermind and they asked me to speak about it, which we'll talk about this later, but it went really well. And it was talking about our I always talk about superpower, your magic, what is that? And we all have it, right? And it could be this, like you and I could have some of the same magic, but just apply it differently. So, um, one thing that I like to bring to the table is that step back, breathe. And that's why I love what I do. I talk about the broker position all the time is because I'm able to remove myself emotionally from the situation and give that sound advice. But what I've realized, and I'm sure this is going to resonate with you as well, is like I was gonna use the F word because this is a real conversation and I do curse,
I
but
mean,
we're
exactly.
we're gonna we'll try to, I mean,
You want to dial it back for a second?
just a little bit. So because we all make mistakes, right? And we all have screwed up. You just said it. You were like in your video, you made a mistake and you owned it, right? Like in your one
Right,
early on in
right.
your
Which I'll
career.
explain about that. Yeah.
So you owned it, right?
Right.
And so there's no point to press any further when someone owns it and says, I did, I screwed up. I did this wrong, my bad. I'm gonna fix it and promise you I won't do it again, right? So when someone does that and you still get harassed and you still get treated like shit, it says a lot about not you, but about that other person, right?
hmm
And that's what I want
Yeah,
people
don't
to,
mind me. There's like a dragonfly that keeps
oh,
circling me. So I'm just gonna
oh,
shift locations before I get
yeah, you're
stuck.
like, you're not
Sorry.
gonna be,
Keep going.
you're not my bestie. You're like, yeah, Dragonfly, you are not my bestie, so
No.
go away.
Yes.
But
I don't whatever it is, creature
yeah,
that's outside. But anyways, yeah, keep
but
going.
yeah, seriously, like the way that they treat you says everything about them and nothing about you. And that's the thing is like we feel that. Like when someone treats you like crap, I don't care if you messed up or you didn't mess up, if it was your fault or it wasn't your fault, right? If you owned it, regardless, and it's done, the way the person reacts tells you that they have something going on in their life. And it has nothing to do with who you are as a person because there's no reason to treat someone like shit. Like, even if they completely messed up the
Right.
task or dropped the ball, like, if they owned it and they're apologizing, I know that doesn't make whatever happened go away, but there's nothing else they can do about it in that
Right.
moment but own it and then make it better, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
people are going to be frustrated and you can express that frustration and give some feedback, but to treat people like crap and just dog them out and continue to beat them up, like that, I want you to let that go today. Like if you are attached to someone who does that, and whether it's your boss, your spouse, whoever it is, like understand that the way that they treat you has nothing to do with you at all. And so
Right. Yeah,
when
we
you're
always
not,
say that it's a reflection of them, not you.
yeah. And so I would challenge you to, not tolerate it, first of all, but second of all, walk away from the situation and tell yourself that. But third of all, like when it isn't chaos, that's when you go back and address it with that person because clearly they have something going on. And if they mean, I'm saying if they mean something to you, like go back and check on them and be like, Josie, that wasn't your character. Like what do you got going on? Not in the heat of the moment because you're not going
hmm
to get what you need from it, but definitely
Right.
go back and reflect that calmness for them because sometimes that's what people do
Right.
need. need that balance. They don't need to fight fire with fire.
Hmm. I agree. And even if they don't mean something to you personally, like earlier this year, we had a deal with a lender that it went sideways, unfortunately, not with a lender, it was with an attorney, the buyer, the whole thing went sideways. There was just drama after the other. And so I was trying to say something that had worked to save the deal for a transaction the month prior. And this was an attorney who we had maybe did a one deal with over the last almost 10 years, right? But we knew him. We run in the same circles. We respected him. And so we were doing this call. It was the newest agent on our team, him and me. And then he like at first sounds like he's listening, da, 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 da. And then he just starts talking extremely condescending, completely out of pocket. And I was just like,
Yeah.
that you're talking. You're making it sound like this is our fault. It's like
Yeah.
we're the ones that's been trying to save the deal the entire time. So, like me trying to give suggestions about something that worked for another client isn't me saying, obviously, we called you. We want your input, but I don't like, I'm not sure where this is coming from. And I did send him an email the next day to say all of that. Like, I was very surprised by that conversation because, we called you looking for support and guidance, obviously, from the legal side, which is why we're not attorneys. And yet, if you're someone who can't receive a suggestion, you can take it or leave it, but it's a suggestion that actually worked. So it's not like I was just making stuff up, pulling it out of thin air. If it's something that worked for another client, you have a fiduciary duty to at least consider it, or like why you don't think it would work for this situation, whatever the case is. Right. And so I sent this, and it wasn't just that. Other things I could tell, like he had stopped replying, for example, to follow-ups and things like that. So like you're borderline now not even doing your job for the client. While I understand this is a frustrating situation, we still need to get our client to like the other side of this, whatever the outcome is going to be. And then after that, he didn't reply, but he did go back and confirm receiving like a different email I had sent earlier that morning where I had asked, like, can you confirm that you got this kind of a thing? So I knew that the message was received, right?
Right.
So whatever the case is, like, it's more about you stand within your integrity and don't worry about like what Carissa said, how other people might take things, how other people might be reacting. Like all you can do is what you can do on your side of things. But being that kind of voice of calm, especially I was like, this is this agent's first transaction with us, right? So like that's not a good impression to even give her from the perspective. And he did, I found out later, called her and apologized to her for how he behaved on the phone, which I appreciated. I was like,
Yeah.
you don't need to call me. That's fine. I've been in this long enough. But um, it's all of those things that reminds me. And then like the 30-second recap, the thing that happened that brought this up when I first started in real estate, new TC, new director of ops, I messed up because a buyer emailed, she was trying to find out her closing costs. I might have even shared this before. And on the contract, the way we write them, you put the deposit, you put the amount being financed, you put the cash to close, and then it equals the total purchase price, right? So I gave her the cash to close amount that came off the contract. That's what I thought the closing costs were at the time. Again, new TC. I didn't understand attorney's fees and all of that that was going to be lumped in, and home insurance and title and blah blah blah. So the lender replies, reams me out on this email chain. Basically, I was super embarrassed, apologetic. Like everybody knew that I was new because I introduced myself as her new blah blah blah, like her new TC, etc. And then there was the buyer's attorney that called me and was very gracious and like apologize for that guy, right? And
Mhm.
then also um offered to sit with me one-on-one and kind of explain more about the process to me. Not to mention Valerie was on vacation that week. Like she trusts, we were new, but she went on vacation. She thought I had it. And then I feel like I dropped, I let her down and I dropped the ball in the deal. And it was really something that was easy enough. He could have replied and said, oh, well, that's part of it, but there's also additional fees. The attorney will tell you the final number, but that's not how he handled it, right? So just really think, like the biggest thing I think Carissa said, we can't control the first things that might come out of our mouths, but we can control the second. So that's what we really want you to take to heart. Be the calm. Don't be the chaos, right? Be the calm in the storm. Don't be the storm. Just be kind and just be mindful of what you say to others
That's it. Just,
because it follows your reputation. It really does.
yeah, be kind. That is it. That is it. And remove yourself from situations where it pulls out anything else besides that because it's not
Right.
worth it.
Exactly. So that's
So,
what we got. we will see you guys later this week. Maybe we'll jump on live or something when we're playing hooky on Thursday.
Yes, I think that might be a fun little extra
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Have a great week, guys.
All right, talk to y'all later.